Did you know there's this hidden math that's secretly running your life? No, really. From picking out your lunch to just setting a password, the simple act of counting choices is pretty much everywhere. So let's break down the hidden math that shapes our world, one decision at a time. I think you're going to be surprised by what we find.
We've all been there, right? You're just trying to buy something simple, and suddenly, boom, you're hit with this wall of choices. Well, that feeling isn't just in your head. It's a mathematical reality. The number of possibilities can just explode way faster than you might think.
So let's take a company that makes, say, custom foam cases. They might only support a handful of tablet models and a few smartphone models. Sounds simple enough, but then you add in all the different colors, maybe the option to put your own picture on it, or monogram. And all of a sudden, figuring out how many different products they actually sell becomes a total headache. So how do we even start to tackle that?
Well, we begin with our first and maybe the simplest tool in the box, the addition principle. And the key word you got to remember here is or. This is what we use when you have to make one single choice between completely separate groups of things.
Okay, let's say you're in the market for a new computer. You look around and you find 3 desktop models you like or 4 laptop models you like. Now, in the world of math, these are called mutually exclusive events, which is just a fancy way of saying you're walking out of the store with one machine, not both. And here's the beautiful part. Because you're choosing one or the other, the math is about as simple as it gets. We just add the number of choices from each of those groups together. And boom, just like that, 3 plus 4, you've got 7 total options for a new computer. Simple, clean, satisfying. That's the addition principle doing its thing.
Okay, but what happens when you're making more than one choice? When you're picking a few things that go together? Well, this is where we need our next tool. This is the multiplication principle, and its keyword is and. And trust me, this is where things get really powerful.
Picture this. You're at your favorite spot for lunch, and they've got a lunch special. You get to choose one entree from 3 options. Then you choose one main dish from 4 options, and finally, you pick one beverage out of 5 options. You see the pattern here? It's a sequence of choices. Because you get an entree and a main dish and a beverage, you multiply the number of options at every single step. So you take 3 times 4 times 5, and that gives you 60 different lunch combos. See how fast that escalated? That's the power of and. Okay, so we've got our or rule and our and rule, but that brings up a really, really important question. In all these situations, does the order you pick things in actually matter? Does it change the outcome? This is where we need to get even more specific with our tools.
Let's dig into the first scenario, where order is everything. It's absolutely critical. And for that, we need to talk about something called permutations.
So what on earth is a permutation? It's just a fancy word for any arrangement where the sequence is a huge deal. Think about a race finish. Coming in first, then second, then third is totally different from coming in third, second, then first. Or a password. PASS is definitely not going to work if the password is SSAP. The order is everything. Let's put our multiplication principle to work on this idea. So, for a swim meet with 9 people, right? Any one of those 9 could come in first. But once that's decided, there are only 8 people left who could possibly get second. And after that, just 7 are left for third. So we just multiplied those numbers, 9 times 8 times 7. And you get 504. 504 different ways for just the top 3 medals to be awarded. That's a ton of outcomes, and it's all because the order is so important. Okay, but what about the flip side? What happens when the order just doesn't matter at all? Well, for that, we have another tool, combinations. A combination is when you only care about what you picked, not how you picked it. You know, getting a pizza with pepperoni and mushrooms is the exact same thing as getting one with mushrooms and pepperoni. It's the same pizza. It's the group of toppings that matters, not the order you listed them. Let's make this super simple. You're ordering a meal and it comes with 2 sides. There are 5 options on the menu. If you pick, say, fries and a salad, it doesn't matter if you said fries first or salad first, right? You're getting the same stuff on your tray. And this is where the math gets a little bit cleverer. What we basically do is figure out all the possible permutations first, but then we divide out all the duplicates, the ones that are the same items just in a different order. And when we do that, it turns out there are only 10 truly unique pairs of side dishes. See, it's a much smaller number because we're not counting all those redundant arrangements.
All right, let's take a breath. We've got our whole toolkit now. We have the addition rule for or choices, the multiplication rule for and choices, and we know the difference between permutations, where order is king, and combinations, where it doesn't matter at all. So let's put it all together one last time. Okay, imagine you're in a skate shop and you're building a totally custom board from scratch. You need to choose one deck out of 10 types, and one set of trucks from 3 types, and one set of wheels from 4 types. See that keyword? It's and all the way. So, what do? We reach for our multiplication principle. 10 deck options times 3 truck options times 4 wheel options, that gives us 120. 120 completely unique skateboards you could build. It's amazing how a few choices can just explode into so many possibilities.
And that's really the big idea here. This isn't just some abstract math class stuff. This is the logic that's humming away behind the scenes at your favorite cafe, the logic that protects your passwords, and builds the technology in your pocket. You've got the tools now. You have the framework to see this hidden structure all around you. So my question for you is, what are you going to count first?